Does anybody, Vanessa, can you hear me on Zoom?
Yes, because it's the green line. That means it's your.
Are you?
I'm muted.
Okay. I don't hear myself. Okay. All right, I'm going to hope that everybody on the Zoom can hear me.
Yes.
All right. Good evening, and thank you for coming to the CEC 15 August 29th, 2023 calendar meeting. I'm Nancy Randall, President, and I would like to call this meeting to order at 6:37 p.m. We are coming to you from the district office at 131 Livingston Street. I would like to ask everyone that is here in person, thank you everyone for being here tonight. Please, could you sign the attendance sheet that's on the table in the back of the room? And if you are on the call and not here in person, can you please sign the attendance form that we will drop in the chat? Before we call the roll, I would like to invite the interpreters to introduce themselves in their languages. But first, I just want to share a little bit of an explanation. Tonight we have a little bit of a different situation with our interpreters. I had asked for us to have Mandarin interpretation in person, and instead the DOE had both Mandarin as well as Spanish and Bangla interpreters in person. So that's why we're a little late. We were figuring out how to make it all work from within the office. We are so grateful that we have interpretation. We're grateful that we have interpretation for our council members. So all's well that ends well. So I'll start with our Spanish interpreter, please.
Hi, good evening. The following message will be said in Spanish, offering interpretation services. Buenas noches a todos. Bienvenidos a la reunión. Estaremos ofreciendo servicio de interpretación en español. La línea es 347-966-4114. Ingrese el número de conferencia 859-984-22, símbolo numeral. Nuevamente, la línea de español es 347-966-4114. Ingresa el número de conferencia 859-984-22, símbolo numeral. Gracias. Thank you.
Okay, now I will turn it to our Bangla interpreter, please. Okay, our Bangla interpreters are not connected yet. And unfortunately, our Mandarin interpreters are not going to be interpreting online. The DOE has explained to us that we can either have in-person interpretation or we can have remote interpretation. We cannot have both. We will keep advocating for the DOE to provide both, as obviously both is necessary. At this moment, we prioritized having our council member be able to be a full member of our council and have interpretation. That does not mean that the DOE should not also be providing online interpretation for the remote portion of our meetings. All right, and with that, I will turn it over to our secretary to call the roll.
Okay, hi everyone. Nice to see you all. Council member Nancy Randall.
Present.
Council member Antonia Ferraro.
Present.
Council member Vanessa Gonzalez Reyka. I'm present. Council member Nancy Cruz present. Council member Donalda Chumney present. Councilmember Lindsley King has an excused absence. Councilmember Hans Arietta. Present. Hi. Councilmember Lauren Barkin has an excused absence. Let me just write present for Hans. Okay. Councilmember Mamoon Rashid. She's absent. Councilmember Danley Vidal. Present. Councilmember Jonathan Davis, and Councilmember Yoon Lee.
Okay, great. We have quorum. And please sign the attendance sheet if you are joining us via Zoom. And now I'll turn it over to Antonio Ferraro Martinelli for the introduction to CEC 15.
I'm gonna unmute myself. Is that all right? All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the District 15 Community Education Council meeting tonight. We appreciate your time and are glad that you could join us. For those of you who are new to CEC meetings, there are 32 CECs throughout the city, plus 4 citywide councils. Each CEC represents a community school district, and each is made up of 12 volunteer members, 10 of whom are elected by parents in the district. The remaining members are appointed by the Brooklyn Borough President, and we will hopefully soon have 2 high school student members. CEC 15 is a state mandated public body responsible for ensuring that public school parents and the public have input in educational decisions that are made at the school district level. Our council reviews education policies and advocates for high quality education that benefit all of our District 15 public elementary and middle school students. CEC 15 serves 35 elementary and middle schools and 1 high school under the oversight of our superintendent. CEC members serve in an advisory role on education matters to the district superintendent, the chancellor of the Department of Education, and the state and city elected officials. We approve district school zoning lines submitted by the Department of Education. We evaluate our district superintendent. We review the district's educational programs, and we support school leadership teams. We also submit recommendations for the School Construction Authority's annual capital plan. And as of recent amendments to the law, CECs advise in the selection of parent coordinators. We actively seek input and feedback from the public and encourage you to visit our website, cecd15.org. Take a look at our Facebook page, connect with us on Twitter, and write to us about any issues you may want to address or learn about. Each school has a CEC liaison. All of our names and contact info will be available on our website. I'm going to place a link in the chat now for everyone to please sign into, who is attending remotely. Tonight, our parliamentarian has an excused absence, and would anyone, would you like to, yay, there we go.
Yeah, and I also
All right.
just want to let everyone know that our Councilmember Mamoon Rashid has arrived. And Jonathan Davis will act as our parliamentarian tonight.
Okay. So I'm just gonna read about our public comment protocol. Tonight's meeting is taking place in person, but will include a public comment period. We will take both remote and in-person comments to gather additional feedback from our families and school community members. You may leave your camera on, or for your own privacy, if you prefer, you may use audio only during the comment period.
Your screen. Oh, because you're.
Good.
Yeah, she was just muted.
Okay, do I need to start from the beginning?
You might.
Rules of engagement? Okay. Rules of engagement. When you comment, please respect the privacy of others. Please do not include names of children or staff. Guests who make inappropriate comments will be removed from the meeting. During the public comment period, those attending virtually may raise their hand to comment or indicate in the chat that they would like to speak. Those called upon will be unmuted. If you are attending in person, you must sign the guest attendance sheet and indicate whether you would like to comment. Speakers will be called on one at a time and will be allowed 1 minute each for comment. We will hear as many speakers as the time allows. It is possible that not every comment or question will be given time, so the best way to get your question answered is always to write to the CEC at cec15@schools.nyc.gov. CEC members will also be given a comment period. Members will be called upon and each permitted 1 2-minute comment or question. If members do not have a comment, they may cede their time to the chair.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to make a motion to amend our agenda tonight.
Second,
We have Carmine Francesi here from the Division of School Facilities. Being here, and Carmine is on our agenda for much later during our business meeting. So I would like to amend the calendar meeting and have Carmine speak after the superintendent. Or before. What you do is do your report. 你可以做您的报告。那么这个是跟那个主管报告之前是 Sure. Okay. All right. After the superintendent's report, that votes. Votes.
Okay, there's a motion to amend the agenda to move Carmine after the superintendent's report. Does anyone want to motion? That was the motion. Oh, that was the motion. That was the motion.
So now you just call it. Okay.
Right. Okay, sorry. Councilmember Nancy Randall. Councilmember Antonio Ferrara. Approve. Councilmember Vanessa Gonzalez will approve. Councilmember Nancy Cruz. Yes. Councilmember Donaldo Chumley. Approve. Councilmember Hans Arieta. Approve. Councilmember Lauren Barkin, sorry. Councilmember Mahmoud Rashid. Approve. Councilmember Dan McDowell. Approve. Councilmember Jonathan Davis.
Approve.
Councilmember Yu Lee. Let the record show that all.
Okay, so there's been a lot going on, even though we are in the summertime. The first thing I want to mention is Lincoln Ressler was able, City Council member Lincoln Ressler was able to secure $540,000 in capital funding this year to fund 2 bathroom renovations and new turf for the schoolyard at PS 261. Borough President Antonio Reynoso also allocated $200,000 for this project, bringing total funding to $740,000. It's built on the allocation of $225,000 last year for 2 new bathrooms at PS 261. Also, through the City Council Member's Office, they were able to have the PS 38 playground renovated. And there's a brand new fence at new system for hiring parent coordinators, which includes CECs. We held parent coordinator hiring meetings with Principal Phil Shamari of John Jay High School for Law and Principal Kevin Conway of Millennium Brooklyn High School. Both candidates had current working experience within the DOE, one as a teacher assistant, one as a school aide for Spanish bilinguals. They both possess a commitment to supporting students and families through all channels of communication and fostering a positive school community. This advisory process is new, and we will discuss more about it during next month's business meeting. The recent PEP meeting was held on August 16th. The PEP is the Panel for Educational Policy, which approves contracts for the Department of Education in New York City. PEP members are either appointed by the mayor or appointed by the borough presidents or elected by CEC presidents. Most PEP members, the majority, are appointed by the mayor. Antonia and I spoke about high school admission screens, building utilization plans, serving the needs of charters over public schools, and the recent UFT contract that was passed. The UFT contract was agreed to by 75% of teachers, but only 1/3 of occupational therapists agreed to it. We also spoke about including families in decision-making about school start times, many of which changed for this upcoming school year. Yes?
There's some people online did not hear anything before PEP because the microphones had it.
Ah, okay. And now we need to connect to your.
So it's just, yeah.
So let's.
I don't know why that would have been. Because
Okay. Okay, I will summarize. Can they?
it's green.
Am I
so
heard?
You're fine.
Okay. So I'll just summarize. Lincoln Wrestler's office, council. I hear feedback. Is that gone? No feedback? Okay. Council member Lincoln Wrestler's office was able to secure funds for PS 261. There have been bathroom renovations and new turf for the schoolyard there. PS 38 also was able to build upon the playground and has a new fence. So thank you, Councilmember Lincoln Wrestler, for your work on behalf of our schools. We have a new process for hiring parent coordinators, which includes CEC members, and the inclusion of CEC members will be something that we will be discussing with our council moving forward. So far, Antonia and I have held meetings with two principals, Principal Shamari of John Jay High School and Principal Conway of Millennium Brooklyn High School, and both principals have hired new parent coordinators. And now from FACE, the New York City Public New York City Public Schools is hosting Parent University, an online course catalog and resource system where New York City families can register for free training on a wide range of topics. There will be a feedback session held to gather input and suggestions about Parent University for the 23-24 school year, and they are asking for parent feedback. They're hosting two sessions, one on September 18th from 6 to 7 p.m. and one on September 28th from 6 to 7 p.m. If you would like information, Antonia, could you drop in the chat? If you would like information about Parent University, you can email them at parentu at schools.nyc.gov, and Antonia is also dropping it in the chat. The NYC DOE is proposing updates to the Code of Conduct and District-Wide Safety Plan for school year 23-24. Any updates to the plan are can you drop the link to that as well? Okay, all right. So Antonia is dropping the link to the Code of Conduct and District-Wide Safety Plan as well. If you want to take a look at it and you have any ideas for changes, please email them at safetyandprevention@schools.nyc.gov no later than September 1st. On September 12th, the New York City Department of Education will hold a virtual public hearing from 5 to 6 p.m. where they will review proposed updates and welcome feedback. Okay, so I would imagine many people have heard about the upcoming potential busing strike, and this could be a significant disruption to families in our city. There is a petition to demand the mayor and Department of Education meet their responsibility to transport our New York City students. Sorry? Did you?
No.
Yes. Did you mute?
No.
No. Should I unmute?
Unmute myself? Okay, all right.
Okay,
so there's a pause, but now I hear.
Yeah, she can't, because I'm performing a role. This is outside of my computer. But it's a 15.
Sure, thank you.
All right, so there is a possible disruption in yellow bus service coming this fall. There is a petition that is being circulated to demand the mayor and Department of Education meet their responsibility to transport our New York City students to school. There will also be, could you drop the, could you? We're dropping the link to that petition in the chat.
Oh, yes.
And you can also attend a town hall on pupil transportation on Friday, September 12th at noon. There will also be a rally and press conference to deliver demands to New York City Public Schools on Tuesday, September 5th at 11:30 a.m. at Tweed. And we'll also drop that flyer in the chat. Antonia, this is where I would love it if you could share information about how busing works.
Oh. Well, I'm flattered, but I really don't, I don't know a tremendous amount of busing, but I do know a big part of the problem is recruiting bus drivers, and that bus drivers have to themselves pay to rent the commercial vehicle that they take their commercial license test with. And renting that vehicle can cost $2,000. So it discourages many people, the very people who would want to become commercial bus drivers don't have that kind of cash to become bus drivers. And so it just cuts down on the number of people qualified to do that work. And it's the way we bring our children back and forth to school. So Nancy and I were having a conversation about that. And she just wanted me to share that little sort of nuance to the issue and get that information out there. I don't know what the solution to that problem is, but it's something that should be considered by the solution makers.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so ultimately there's a lot going on to either get your voice out, to get your
to let it be known to the DOE and the mayor that we need our kids to be able to get to school. I also want to share that Council Member Shahana Hanif's office will be hosting a cannabis conversation on Wednesday, September 13th, and it will be virtual. We will be attending and we will share a flyer from Councilmember Hanif's office as it becomes available. She and her office are putting together a panel that will share information on new laws about cannabis and how those might affect New Yorkers. And now I'll turn it over to Antonia to discuss some state information.
Okay, great. So there's this letter on the table over there. If everybody wants to grab it. It's a really great letter from Attorney General Letitia James and Commissioner of Education Betty Rosa, some of our favorite people. And it is about, it's highlighting aspects of two state policies, the Dignity for All Students Act and the Board of Regents DEI policy. And the Dignity for All Students Act requires that public schools foster civility in public schools by creating a school environment where students are free to learn without fear of discrimination, harassment, or intimidation. And the Board of Regents DEI policy and framework highlights the fact that public schools cannot meet their legal obligations unless they place DEI at the center of their work. And that framework includes teaching and learning, which is the books and instructional material, the pedagogical practices, the classroom grouping policies and practices, the student support systems, and full and equitable opportunities for all students to learn. And it also just, the letter also discusses student discipline and it talks about disproportionality involving students of color, particularly Black students and students with disabilities, and that this disproportionality violates state and federal laws, which require that discipline policies and practices be designed and implemented in a non-discriminatory way. The letter addresses bullying and harassment, that state, federal, and local laws protect students from bullying and harassment in schools and impose affirmative duties on schools to ensure that they are free from bullying and harassment. And the guidance addresses topics that frequently arise in ensuring a safe and supportive environment for transgender and non-binary students, including the use of names and pronouns to address transgender students, privacy, confidentiality of student records. The volume went down. Okay. It looks like it's functioning on my end. Anyway, it's a great letter. I'm sure that it was written in response to the current litigation in New Jersey around a few school districts that are mandating that teachers report to parents about the pronouns of students in their classroom. But there's a lot of great information in this letter and our obligations to our students and their civil rights. So I encourage everybody to read it when they get a chance. Thank you.
Do I just move this over?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. We are over time already. And we have a hard out at 9 p.m. tonight. So we are packing a lot into the next 2 hours. And with that, I want to pass it over to Superintendent Alvarez. Do you want him?
You should probably
Yeah,
you gotta
you
sit here because the, yeah.
Sorry, there's like a obstacle course to get there.
Yeah, sit there, because this is the mic.
PowerPoint up for you guys to be able to see from here.
Part of the problem might be.
Shanice, are they putting the PowerPoint on for the?
I don't know.
Are they putting the PowerPoint on for the?
So she should, I imagine she's going to share this. Oh, she's gotta just share this.
You want to just share the screen? I guess while we're waiting, can everyone hear me clearly, or do you need me to be a little bit louder? Should I get started, or do you want me to wait till then? I'll wait till then. Here we go. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, CEC. So I'm just going to go to the next slide. Really just celebrating and honoring what's coming up in the month of September, which we have our Labor Day, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and the remembrance of 9/11 and tragedies we've had right here in New York City. In terms of the agenda, we're really going to talk about a little bit of the Summer Rising highlights, some district updates, news from our new DEI Equity and Diversity Coordinator, news from the Supervisor of Social Workers, the D15 team, some dates and events, and some heads up as to what we're going to be talking about in the month of September, since we don't have our statewide data yet. So we'll do a state of the district in the following subsequent month, September. Next slide. I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge we had a loss in District 15 of a student. It was the last day of Summer Rising during the DYCD programming. Unfortunately, a student collapsed and passed away. I'm not going to go into the details of the student, but it was at PS 130. We shared the information with the CEC. And we wish the family well. I just want to take just a moment of silence on behalf of that particular student, as it was a tragic day for the family. The relative does have another student going into one of our schools. We've immediately prepared some work to support that student in their transition to middle school. The principal's already been in contact with the family. The parent has already agreed to group counseling. So we're working with that family on a day-to-day basis to support that family as they deal with this particular tragedy in their family. And so our hearts go out to this particular family, and I just want to take just a moment. Okay, thank you. Just so that you know, Nicole is going to be throwing in the translated version.
Someone can't hear.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
You can hear?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Janet, can you hear me?
Okay, great.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Summer Rising stats. We had 7 sites open this summer. A total number of 2,463 students received Summer Rising support, and we had several different partnerships that you see included here. Next slide. I just wanted to thank the principals and APs in charge of Summer Rising. I'm not going to read every single name, but their due diligence. And even if their name is not here, there were several principals and assistant principals who supported their colleagues when someone had to be out, or if there was an emergency or other things were going on. So kudos to the school leadership across the district in ensuring a smooth Summer Rising program. And just some highlights of things that were happening. PS 130 did a superhero character day. MS 88 had a CBO's day of celebrations. Next slide. Student learning and exploration at PS 94, they have a interactive room where kids go in and almost like a make-believe room where they get to simulate different scenarios. Some computer workshops and things that we're working on. Visiting the museum, MS 136 821, going to El Museo del Barrio, which is in Manhattan, and exploring the museum and using that as a tool to support them in their particular work. And so just highlighting some of the things that were going on throughout the summer, that it wasn't just workbook and talk, but more of interaction. Next slide. Some more summer fun across the district and things that were going on across the district, just to highlight that. Oh, I'll wait 1 second. Shanice, you ready? I want to welcome 2 leaders to our district. Barrett Brathwaite was the former APFPS 10. She is now the principal of K280, which many know as K863, which is the early childhood, one of the early childhood centers at the Bishop Ford campus. So congratulations to her in her C30 process. We're excited about that work. It was a smooth transition as Laura Scott was able to work with her in transitioning because they worked simultaneously together. And I also want to celebrate Myrna Gonzalez, former AP at MS 88, who's transitioned to be the interim acting principal of middle school 136. As you all know, and I shared before, Amanda Bueno has decided to move on to another position at Central at the Department of Ed, and the transition happened as of August 16th. She will still go through the C30 process, which we're in the process of getting ready to engage in, and that vacancy will be placed as an open vacancy and posted for people to apply. Next slide. I'm going to pass these out and you can just take one. This is just our district team, their phone number as well as their email. Anyone that services the District 15 community within the District 15 office, I wanted you all as CEC members to have access. For those of you who are parents who are in the audience on virtual, you're going to have access to this virtually, and you'll be able to click on the links and be able to see their email addresses, including our email addresses and what their role is on our particular team. Next slide. Merrill Town Hall, and I want to start off with this a little bit. I know there was some concerns about what happened in this particular event. So the mayor had held a town hall in our district in the Sunset Park section at Sunset Park Prep High School under Janice Ross. We were informed about it, and I'm going to extend an apology to the CEC for not directly inviting the CEC, because we were informed that the mayor's office would be reaching out to the CECs, and in fact, you were as an invite. So I took it as you guys already being invited to the CEC, and apparently you weren't. So I'm going to take the responsibility for that because I am the superintendent at the end of the day. But we have made clear that going forward, we are going to notify you whether they ask us to or not. And a perfect example of this is the very next day that this happened, middle school 88 principal Aileen Mitchell reached out to Nicole Lanzalato, our deputy superintendent, and asked her if it was okay for us to host a mayoral town hall meeting, and the date is October 11th at MS 88. She asked if I was informed. I was never informed. The mayor's office has a tendency to reach directly out to school leaders and have these particular conversations. I was only informed because the principal reached out. So when I'm informed, I will share going forward so that there is no miscommunication, whether it's on my part or anybody else's part. I still take responsibility for not having it. So I apologize myself directly to all members who may have felt in any particular way. I hope that those members who were here before and those that have seen that I'm not one to do anything in any particular negative way, but more of how do we work collaboratively together. So I'm going to take responsibility for that. But I did want to report on some of the things that did occur there. The structure was a round table. They had about 15 to 20 round tables where they had members from the mayor's office at each of the tables. They had members from the community affairs office and then other constituencies from that particular neighborhood. And what happened was in a round table, they allowed everyone to go around about questions or problems that they felt around the particular community. And the table would then select one question that would actually be addressed to the mayor. And then the mayor would call on his people to either answer the question or he would try to answer the question directly himself. Many of the topics that were raised are up here. So Red Hook discussed air quality due to the ships that are larger, that don't connect to that exhaust anymore, as well as construction impacting the community with air quality due to the hot weather. They have to open their windows, but they don't have ACs. But if they open their windows, they're getting in the bad air. And then particularly during this time, this is when the wildfire air was coming in from Canada. So a lot of community members were concerned about that. Sunset Park itself, providing public time instead of organizations using up the soccer field all the time. A student actually presented this one himself, a 9-year-old student from one of our schools. A housing question to support families with disabilities, as many families in the Sunset Park area feel that a lot of the buildings are not accessible. And how do we support families in our particular community with disabilities? There was support around cleaning up unauthorized vendors on the streets in the Sunset Park section, where in the past they were apprehending people who were illegal vendors in the street. That's not happening as much as it was before, and that was a concern that the community brought up. The 7-2 precinct, Captain Suarez said she was going to be out there more vigilant and working on trying to prevent those vendors, those unauthorized vendors, from taking away business from those who are authorized vendors in the community. Asylum seekers versus supporting your average New Yorker. There was a concern that a parent brought up, well, not a parent, but a member of the community brought up, specifically around ensuring that the city is paying attention to those who are taxpayers versus just asylum seekers. And the mayor gave his own clarification as to what we're doing for all New Yorkers who are here. And then HUD housing policies and changes to access, where there used to be more accessibility to HUD. Now there's less accessibility because they haven't opened the number of HUD cases that could be opened going further. So there's people on wait lists to be able to get those services. So families were concerned that they're making a certain salary, their salaries aren't going up, but their landlords are increasing their rent. And there were some questions around that. And those were the gist of a lot of the topics that were raised and discussed. And again, as of right now, and this is tentatively, and we will continue to communicate with MS88 to even determine if they're even being selected for the town hall that will happen for the Park Slope community, and we'll make sure that you're informed going forward. Next slide. Potential citywide strikes. So the potential strike could affect 4,400 routes across all 5 boroughs, impacting approximately 80,000 students, of which 25,000 of them are special ed students. The city's top priority remains ensuring that every student, especially our most vulnerable populations, can continue attending their schools without interruption. All impacted families will be eligible to receive emergency Metro cards. That's going to be a total of 4 trips and transfers daily from Monday through Friday between the hours of 5:30 a.m. to 8 p.m., which, as you know, are extended hours from the regular Metro card use for the city. Some impacted families will be eligible for additional services that include reimbursement for alternative transportation. The DOE is establishing a reimbursement system for families who must resort to taxis, ride shares, or personal vehicles due to the strike. And a reimbursement rate of 58 cents per mile has been set, with a maximum reimbursement of $200, $100 each way per day. Rideshare for affected students and families exist, and the bullet points below, and you'll have access to the PowerPoint, what those exemption forms are. And I apologize, we're missing the M on the exemption, but what those exemption forms are. Each school will have a transportation liaison to coordinate and support schools with who's going to be affected. And the communication has already been sent out to families through the NISCA accounts, but school leaders also have these printed to be able to provide on the first day as well, and to start emailing family members and communities that are affected. We should be getting a list shortly from the Office of Transportation as to which routes will be impacted, because as you know, or you may not know, it's not all routes that are going to be impacted or affected by this. It's some. Some of the bus companies have different union members in different unions, and so it's certain unions that are being impacted by this. So there's a link there for the exemption form. There are about 6 different exemptions that you can have. The city's targeting its special education population that have it on their IEPs. They're targeting special ed students who have it for other reasons in terms of transportation on the IEPs. They're also targeting 504 plans and other exemptions as I listed there, and you'll be able to access those 6 different exemptions. Next slide. D15 school buildings. So expected to open in the 24-25 school year is K654. That says 80 Flatbush, but it's actually the entrance for the elementary side of the school is located on State Street. The 80 Flatbush side, which is really located on Skimmerhorn, is really for the Khalil Gibral School, which is a 9 to 12. Our K347 is our St. Francis Xavier School located on 763 President Street. We're still working with CEC to determine how that space is going to be utilized in partnership with the DPC, which is the District Planning Committee. Expected to open in the 26-27 school year is K004, also known as IS 964. That's located at 4002 Fort Hamilton Parkway off of 41st Street, between 40th and 41st Street and Fort Hamilton Parkway. But currently what we've worked out with Sunset Park PAR, as well as through the decision-making process with DPC and the community, we decided to open that school early in 24-25 school year. And that's due to the advocacy of many members in the Sunset Park community. That community will have it start at 6th grade in the 24-25 school year in the old PS 516, which is the St. Michael's space that we've been utilizing. So they'll start in 6th grade for 2024-25. 25-26, they will have 7th grade. 26-27, they will move with their 6th and 7th graders and 8th graders to the Fort Hamilton location, Parkway location. This school is expected to have dual language, as well as a Horizon program to be able to house our middle school students that are currently attending PS 24 as a transition, which is part of what Sunset Park PAR requested, asked for, and we worked on collectively and collaboratively to make happen. We also have K680. It's the Red Hook Neighborhood School. You also know it as our new our new Harbor Middle School that has a partnership with the Harbor High School, where they will continue to expand, and they're expected to be at 35 Delavan Street in the 26-27 school year. Next slide. Where are we headed as a district? I wanted to share where we're headed because I'm going to need your input and your feedback as to what are the CEC's priorities as a CEC and what you would like me as a superintendent to work on collaboratively with you and moving some of our initiatives collectively together forward based on what the CEC would like to see happening as a district. And so some of the things that we're focusing on is on continuously building the capacity of our leaders. So last year, as you know, we sent 5 schools with 5 team members each to DataWise, developing habits of mind that allow leaders to use their collaborative data inquiry for more equitable schools. Those leaders are now providing the professional development for their colleagues at principal and assistant principal conferences. Multi-tiered support, systems of support. MTSS is a process that we're using to address marginalized students across our schools by creating small group instruction, targeted support, station teaching, and many other things. Many of you have been hearing about the phase 1 and phase 2 around the curricula. District 15 is a phase 2 district, which means we're in the process. We engaged our community a lot last year around the 3 different curricular programs that exist for the DOE. They are the mandated curriculums, but please note that while it's mandated curricula, it's our responsibility to look at data because data drives instruction, not curriculum. And so therefore, making adjustments to curricula where necessary. For example, culturally responsive education, for example, accelerated learning, for example, different ways to reach different diverse needs of our particular students across our schools. So phase 2 is going to be, we have the opportunity to spend a year in starting to train plan, and prepare for the implementation of the set curricula in the 24-25 school year. Our literacy plan is going to focus around phonemic awareness, phonics, the district curriculum that includes vocabulary fluency and comprehension. So we're trying to touch on the 5 pillars because we recognize no curricula touches any one pillar, and one curricula is going to address all the needs of our particular students. One of the ways that we're supporting the advancement of accelerated learning is thinking about our project-based learning, which was an initiative that came from our CEC last year, which we went with, and we've been expanding, and we continue to expand this year, where we're using project-based learning and school-wide enrichment, where it's rigorous, culturally responsive teaching and learning, and hands-on for our different modality thinkers in our schools, right? Attendance, we're specifically targeting students in temporary housing and trying to address where these particular gaps are. We're continuing our work around CEL to support and develop student social emotional skills. And we're focusing on professional learning for all stakeholders. So in this year, our parent piece is going to start focusing on how do we support our parents in understanding what the expectations are around not only the new literacy curricula, but also making parents aware of what those components are and supporting our parents because we want to build capacity across, right? We're working out with our teachers, so there's a lot more professional development. So for example, today we had a new teacher orientation where we worked on sharing some of those aspects across our school leaders. And we're doing some multiple other things that I'm going to share in future meetings coming up. Next slide. So I'm going to pass this over for a few minutes to our DEI coordinator. He's new to us, already hitting the ground running. He's going to share some of the diversity coordinator work and the supervisor social workers work that we're currently going. So if you don't mind coming up, Omar, you're going to have to be close to this mic. I could put it on. Should I put it?
Take my seat.
So Omar Grills is the new DEI coordinator. Many of you know that the diversity plan that we have across our district requires that we have a diversity coordinator. We had Gina Brown at the time. Now Gina has transitioned, and Omar Grills, is it Grills? Griles. I always say Grills. I apologize. I hate that. I apologize. So it's Omar Griles, who's our new DEI coordinator. He started on pretty much July 1. And has been working already with meeting our schools and developing a plan that he's going to talk about now. So
thank you.
I'm ready to.
Okay. Once again, my name is Omar Griles. I'm the new DEI coordinator. Over the past few months, it's been really great getting to know the District 15, meeting with principals, getting a better understanding of the principal's vision and understanding the DEI work that is really important to the district. So I'm going to just go through a few initiatives that I've been working on. It's a lot more to come, but this is just a start. Some of the initiatives consist of Save for College. I have some ideas around working with doing some district events to really support families around giving them more opportunities to support their children around, can you hear me?
Yeah, you just have to speak louder.
Okay, all right. Supporting the families around, providing opportunity for their children to have support around the Save for College. Very important program. I'm really excited about the Youth Equity Congress. I would like to, just pick back up. I have some really great vendors that I'll be talking about in a little bit to really just get going with presenting the DEI work for our students, empowering the students to bring that work back to their schools, to support the equity work in their schools. Once again, I'm bringing in the Adult Equity Congress, where I'll be working with principals, school representatives that will also be discussing some really important concerns that's going across the district, disproportionalities across the district within our students of color and other areas I would like to bring up where we could work on some action plans. Some career fairs. I'm going to be looking at a cohort of schools within the middle schools that I think will be. I run a really unique and student-driven career fair that I used to run in District 13, and I'm really excited for that opportunity to bring that to the district. Some of the common threads that I've been able to get from meeting with principals and really getting an understanding around the student-teacher interaction is just providing more support to the teachers around, building relationships and doing professional development. And so I'm really excited to to have that opportunity to bring professional development around building relationships with the schools in our District 15. And my brother's keeper grant is a great grant that I've been able to just kind of walk in and have an opportunity to bring in 4 vendors that I'll be discussing soon that will really provide some really great work within the DEI scope.
Next slide.
Okay, Bridging Cultures Group is one of the vendors. This particular vendor, they do a really great DEI assessments, focusing on cultural responsiveness, really helping, either school administrators as well as teachers, and really providing a model classroom to turnkey that work back to students and support the DEI work. I'm really excited to have that opportunity to pick a pilot group of schools to bring them in on.
Next slide.
Keys to Abundant Life. I'm really excited for the opportunity to do college and career readiness. They're going to be bringing in some great work to the high schools. And right now that work, it will be a 4-day college tour to HBCU colleges. And I'm really excited to see, the students have opportunity and get exposed to college and career readiness. And they're bringing a lot of SEL and also college and career readiness workshops that will keep them in preparation for that.
Next slide.
District 15, one of my targets this year, my focus will be to look really into the reduction of suspensions. There's been some really disproportionalities around our students. And, this focus will be looking at these data trends, focusing on repeat offenders, and, creating protocols to enhance student-teacher relationships, building that trust, initiatives that provide students with additional support when re-engaging their students in their communities, creating some protocols and structures that will allow students that will just not welcome them back, but an actual plan to help them re-engage and create that belonging back into the school communities. Action planning, implementation of preventive protocols to reduce the student infractions to rebuild that trust. And research shows that that aggressive discipline has been more negative impact on student learning, attendance, and future behaviors. And so building restorative practice across the district will be very, very important.
Next slide. Next slide.
I think that's it.
Yeah, so the Saving College Program collective goal by the end of the year, the school year, is 50%. By the end of 5th grade is 80%. So this is just a slide to show really how many scholarships are out there at this point, what percentage of them are scholarships, and what the total money would be by the time it gets to the time for them to collect at the college level. So we're really encouraging a lot of our schools to be more deeply involved. Not all schools, this is an option where parents have the option to opt in and opt out. And there have been some families who have opted out, but this is a great opportunity for us to continue to push. And I think this is where Omar talked about having more opportunities to actually engage our communities and understanding what this Save the College is about, so the more parents enroll. Some of our families, in particular, maybe undocumented families, feel uncomfortable with attaching themselves with anything that might impact what they feel might be their status in terms of in the country. And so we're working on dispelling some of the misnomers around some of the ideas around this particular work. Next slide. I'm not going to go into too much detail for the sake of time, but this is regardless of immigration status. And so this is something that we have to continue to communicate to our community, and we're glad that Omar is involved, because as you heard, he's talking about creating some opportunities for fairs and opportunities to engage in parents and understanding really how impactful this can be for a child's future. I mean, a system where you start in kindergarten and when you graduate high school, if you're going to college, you get a check to be able to go. To supplement in any way, shape, or form is, I mean, I wish I had that, right? Knowing where I came from and where I grew up, it would have really helped me with books or anything else. And so this is a great opportunity. It started in District 30 under Dr. Philip Impasto, and he helped expand it to the entire city. So we're really excited about this. Next slide. Mental health in the year ahead. So you all know that we were awarded the Mitigating Trauma grant. The district's going to utilize the SHAPE tool to assess mental health resources and needs throughout our schools. Training is going to be included with the bullying prevention assessment, trauma, illness relief. The district will have monthly trainings for school counselors that will include keynote speakers, the PESI, the Play Therapy Association, History Unerased, American School Counseling Association. So you could check with your local school for resources on established mental health partnerships, such as Good Shepherd Services. We've been doing a lot more work with NYU Langone since they sit in our district, and they're in a lot of our schools. We're doing more counseling in schools, and there's going to be a lot more deeper work around how are we looking at the data to help us improve some of the trauma that students are still facing in our schools as a result of the pandemic, as a result of anything that's going on, personal trauma, things in the community, things that are happening in society, all these things that are impacting students' ability to be able to perform at their maximum potential. Next slide. So some dates and events. I just wanted you to be aware of some of the dates, September 7th through the 28th, the month of September. I'm not going to read this, but this is some days where schools are closed, where there's going to be parent-teacher conferences so that you are actually aware. Next slide. Some tentative dates for the district. We talked about some of these, and these are some of the things that we're doing as a district-wide community and not just one school. So finding ways to bridge our communities together in the different neighborhoods. And so the District 15 Art Showcase, where schools across the district will have an art show. December 11th is that tentative date. The Day of Service, you know it as Call to Action that we did last year during the holiday. We're specifically doing this during the MLK week because we're going to be doing a social action and student voice work in partnership with City Harvest, who sits in our district already, for those of you who don't know, on 2nd Avenue in the Sunset Park section. Our Project-Based Learning Showcase, which is an amazing event we had last year, we're going to move that up to March 13th. The schools are already aware of this, and so you'll be able to see that work. Our STEM Exploration Day, this is for 5th, 8th, and 11th grade students who get nominated by their schools. It's a field day in Governor's Island where we're bringing in Cornell University, we're bringing in NYU scientists and doctors and different areas in the fields that most students may or may not know about, to be exposed to hands-on activities around those particular sciences to get them engaged in thinking about some other things that they can do in terms of college and career readiness. Our District 15 Recognition Day, we had a recognition day for several members in our community. This year, we're going to focus on school aides, community coordinator and associates, secretaries, paraprofessionals, school nurses, and school-based support teams. Last year, you know, we did safety agents, custodial staff, food services, and there was one more. It's skipping me. I'll come back to that. We have our Parent Symposium, Learning Together, June 8th this year, where it's a celebration. We're going to find a school, we're going to participate in activities throughout the day, we're going to have some shows, and we're also going to have a day of like family fun afternoon. And then we have our Urban Debate League. I really have to thank our elected officials, Assemblymember Aviles, Assemblymember Hanif, Assemblymember Rita Joseph, and then, well, those are 3 Assembly members, City Council members, correction. City Council members, New York City Council members, let's be clear. I apologize for that. I want to make sure I correct that clearly on the air. Our City Council members have each given us $25,000, a total of $75,000, and a final portion of the other $25,000 to now sponsor. Last year, we had only middle schools participate in the Urban Debate League Challenge. This year, we're going to have elementary schools and middle schools participate in this. We firmly believe that if we develop the public speaking of our students, it develops their ability to have advocacy. We're all about voice, choice, and agency for our students, and so this is going to build their capacity to do that work. And so we have 4 competition dates that are going to be available. Location to be determined. That's already been predetermined. So schools will have coaches that are going to support the students, but then there's going to be a coach that supports the coaches on how to support the students in the public speaking. If you see some of these kids debate, you're going to be amazed by some of the work that they do. And so we're excited about that work. We also have one more thing that wasn't on there, and we don't have the date for it, so I don't want to give the date, but we have a district-wide theater. What that means is students from all schools in elementary, middle school, and our high schools will be able to join a district-wide theater club where they're eventually going to perform. And right now we've selected that we're going to have them perform at LaGuardia High School, where families will be able to see students from elementary through middle school across the district put on one particular play. And right now they've selected Annie as their play so far. So we're excited about that work and the continued work around soccer, which we have our middle schools participate in already, that is run by Principal Michael Perlberg. And then we have our basketball that's been started in Sunset Park, run by Principal Christina Gonzalez and many others in Sunset Park section. So we're excited about the continuous partnerships across schools across the district so that we're working in collaboration moving forward. And I think I'm done there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll pass it over to Jonathan. Jonathan, we can start with the online and then move to the in-person next, and then finally.
Yes. So, can you hear me? Those who are online? Great. So we will now move to individuals who are online. If you have any comments or questions, you will have 2 minutes to speak once you are called upon. I see Camille Casaretti. The floor is yours for 2 minutes.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Hi, Superintendent Alvarez. I had a question about the project-based learning. You may have heard that the New York State Education Department is offering this plan pilot, which is a project-based learning assessment pilot, and they are opening that to middle schools and high schools, and there's some money attached to that. And I know since you're moving in that direction anyway, this seems like a really good opportunity to get a couple of the middle schools involved. So I'm just going to drop the information in the chat with the link. There's a deadline, October 2nd, which is just a notice of intent. So, you know, they don't have to do like a big workaround for the October 2nd date. But if they're interested, they should definitely sign up for that sooner than later. So good luck and let me know if you need any help.
Thanks, Camille. You guys got that?
Thank you, Camille. Is there anybody else who is with us virtually who would like to ask a question or offer a comment? Rachel Lori Weaver.
Hi, thank you so much. I just am working with lots of newly arrived folks and folks living in shelter. And I'm wondering what the best way is to connect folks with the vouchers that they are eligible for. This is sort of out of the realm of the, ELED through high school realm, but we keep being told by shelter providers that DOE is filling us in on how folks can connect with daycare. So do you have any information there? Because the buck keeps being tossed to you.
Yeah, Rachel, did you get to speak? I know I put you in contact with Charmaine. Did you get to continue to speak with Charmaine around this particular area of the vouchers?
Unfortunately not. There's not been any new information given. So we're sort of at a dead end at this point.
Okay, let me coordinate with Charmaine's supervisor, and I'll get back to you in an email if that's okay, to find out how we go about that. Give me about 2 or 3 days to get a response to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I have your email, so I'll definitely email you directly.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any other individuals who are with us virtually who would like to speak? Janet Marte.
Hi, Mr. Alvarez. Hi. I just hope that all these great initiatives that you're putting out there, especially the debate team and the art, I guess, expose and all these great things that are happening within District 15, that there's going to be some work around including students with disabilities, especially those on the more, I'm gonna say, severe end of the autism spectrum in District 15, that you're gonna work on making sure that these students are working with coaches and with people that wanna work with them to get them to be able to utilize their voice in the
Yeah.
best way they can to be part of these projects, because they are part of the district and they should be part of all these wonderful initiatives. So I hope to hear from you, and I hope that students like my son are able to participate.
Jana, you're gonna hear from me right now. Ursula is on the Zoom. Ursula, if we can make sure that we create an environment where all students are included in the particular debates, regardless of anything, and ensuring that the locations that we also select are fully accessible so that there's access. Maybe we continue to use 958 as we have in the past, this past year. And then for my team members, just ensuring that our initiatives, that when Neil is planning those particular initiatives, that they are places that are allows for the full accessibility and inclusivity of all the students participating, up to and including the theater and how students can be involved in that as well.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Have a good one.
Ann Weaver.
Hi, yes, thank you. I was wondering how the programs through the DEI coordination is like which schools are being piloted and how that is being chosen. So for example, the Bridging Cultures one that was spoken on, as well as DEI restorative practices. If schools are actively wanting to bring restorative practice training into the school, does the district offer any sort of grant for that?
I'm going to pass it over to our DEI coordinator to respond to that.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your question. The most important thing is, when I went around to the many schools to talk to principals, these vendors are most of the vendors that I'm targeting. I'm identifying schools in need with that particular concern. So it's really important that before I'm going into the schools, I get a good assessment of what's going on and how I can support the principals. So the way that I'm targeting these schools, that's how I'm going in. I'm making sure that I'm speaking with principals, not only speaking with principals, but I'm also speaking with District 15 superiors as well. And then that's how I'm going in to make sure I focus on the numbers and how I'm piloting schools and looking at the needs, most importantly.
Yeah, and also to add to that, I've been working with the Restorative Justice Office. It's run by Robin Davison, who is a former superintendent of District 13, and we haven't been able to get on the schedule, but we're scheduled to meet this month to think about how do we go about expanding restorative justice practices across more of our schools, particularly in our middle schools and our upper elementary at this point. So I'm working on that. So if you could stand by for some more response to that, I should be able to have more news around what resources are going to be provided to us to be able to move some of that work forward.
Thank you so much. I'm a parent at PS 124, which is a school in South Park Slope, and we are very interested in bringing in Morningside, which is an amazing provider of restorative practices. So, if you're able to think of PS 124 for those types of programs, it would be really incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 5 more minutes for public comment. Is there anybody else with us virtually who would like to comment? Is there anybody on the translation line?
There's no questions in the Spanish line.
没有什么在这个西班牙的没有人想要发言在那个西班牙语的这个电话上。
The Bangalore line.
那么在孟加的这个语言的这个线上呢？也没有。
The Mandarin.
No. 我有没有错过？
Let's move.
No line.
There's no line.
Yeah.
我这个
Are
中
there
文
any
没有
other translators
电话
today?
线，
Yes, no.
有没有什
So
么
we'll
口音啊？
move
我们是
down
错
to
过的没
in
有。
person.
那这边现在是
Is there
亲自的。
anybody who is here with us today who would
那么
like
请
to ask a
问
question or offer
有
a
没有人
comment?
亲自参与这个会议是想要发言的呢？ 好的，
So we will now move
那么我们现在
to
就
CEC member
换
comment.
到 CEC 的这个
okay.
会员的这
So we'll
个
do a
发言。
roll call
我
for
首先呢，我要
comments.
点名
Okay.
那么开
So
始。
I'm going to go through our roll call,
那么我
one
现在就
person
点
at
名
a time.
每一个人一
CEC
个人来。
members, you will have
那么
2
CEC 的会员，您
minutes
有2分
to
钟
offer a
可以
comment
提供
or
一下一
question.
些提
I'll
供一些
begin
发
with
言或者
Councilmember
是
Nancy
问一
Randall.
些问题。那么首先开始 Randall，
Okay. Nothing from Nancy.
那么
Move to
Nancy 没有
Antonio
没有什
Guerrero.
么要说的。那么
Oh,
Antonio，
Antonio.
Antonio，
Yeah.
For today.
Sorry, Antonia. Next, Councilmember Vanessa Gonzalez Yoko.
Vanessa
Yoga.
Yoga.
I'm messing. You don't want this is why you don't want it.
You're
We
doing
welcome,
great job
we
so
welcome
far.
Leslie.
You're doing
Yeah,
great, Jonathan.
We
That's
welcome
good.
Leslie
You're doing
coming
great.
back next meeting. I'm sorry, Vanessa.
他没有问题。
Councilmember Nancy Cruz.
Nancy Cruz 委员，没问题。
Councilmember Donaldo Chumney.
真的是承认，他有个问题。
I wanted to talk about the data that your team is able to provide to us.
那我想是关于这个您上个星期提
Yeah,
供的一些
STA
数据，
specific.
那么是大家
Well,
STA 制的一个体
students
系
who
的
are
这个事
migrant
情，
students.
它是不是关于这个移民的这个事情？它是
And in
刚
that
来的
data, we
学
saw
生，
that
然后在我们的数据里可以看到，
non-Title I elementary
那
schools,
么没有这个 Title 1
6 of
的，
our
有6个，
non-Title I elementary
就说没有
schools
Title 1的这
zero
个，
students.
但是他也收到1个学生，
And
就是
maybe
新
another
入学
6
的，
or 7 received 1 or 2.
那如果有6到7个，他收到1到
Middle
2，
school's the same
我们
way.
中学它是同样的这个规定，
we also
同样的这
noticed
个
that Of our schools where poverty is the most concentrated,
那么说这个是算是说贫困学生是最专注的一级，
absorbed.
他有吸收，就是应该是
So,
在2
and
月
we
份，
also saw funding
我们
going
也
to
看
those
到这
schools
资
in,
金
in, for high
分
need
配到这
amounts
个
of
学校，它有更多的一些需
between
求。
$1,000 and $2,900 total, not
这个就是
per
说
child.
这个是
So I'm
1000到
wondering, how does this
2900，
enrollment
但
pattern
是这个关于这个我们这个入学的这个
and
这个规
segregation
律，
connect with
这个事情呢就联系到我们的实务学区的是包括性还有多样性。
Right. So, in order to just address that, we have to address really, honestly, what those laws are, right? And so, from the perspective of a student, let me step back for a second. When it comes to asylum seekers, we cannot track specifically who is and who isn't. What can be tracked is students in temporary housing. When students are in temporary housing, what we've been able to give rough estimates about are students who are in temporary housing who, for example, might have a second language that might indicate that they're roughly or possibly, which is why there's rough estimates around how many students are migrant students. Under the McKinney-Vento law, as you're aware of, the McKinney-Vento law specifically states that a child has the right to access a school from within the vicinity of where they are. So it would normally be that zone school. Parents have also some other rights. So when it comes to the Hills Forum, where they're completing the home language survey, for example, parents watch a video that the state law requires us to share to determine whether they want to go to an ESL program, a dual language program, or a transitional bilingual education program. So parents then have that second option. With a lot of the migrants coming to New York, being bilingual, particularly mainly in Spanish, what's been happening is a lot of the parents, after watching the video, have been selecting that they would like to go to a dual language program. So then we are then obligated to provide them with what their choices are as it relates to what the state law requires us to do. In order to change that, we would have to find ways to change the state law or speak to our elected officials to help figure out ways where we can change that. I certainly agree with the fact that it comes across as inequities when one school has more students in temporary housing versus another school, when there are several schools within a particular vicinity. But the fact of the matter is, we don't get to choose which locations are going to be considered temporary housing because it's based on space availability. And based on what's going on in our city now, there's no space, right? And so we're doing the best that we can with trying to make as much equitable access as we can with under the conditions that we're in. And so from a systems perspective, we're trying to do other things like prepare teachers for what they're going to have in their classes. We talked about making sure we're looking at small group instruction. We're talking about personally individualizing instructional needs and supports for schools. We've been providing additional resources such as the professional development to support teachers with these particular aspects. We've been working with our counselors and our social workers to help kind of develop their need to support at their schools. We've reached out to the Restorative Justice Office, which we're waiting to have that meeting so that we can actually start providing more additional support to schools that are going to need it. Certainly, in addition to that, schools that have students in temporary housing, a large number, get what's called a Bridging the Gap social worker. And many of them have received this Bridging the Gap social worker, which is an additional worker that supports schools in our district. So for example, 124, which has a high number of students in temporary housing because they opened another shelter, which is 3 shelters now supporting that school, you then see there's a Bridging the Gap social worker. There have been approximately 4 teachers that right now are in excess. And I say this casually, but I want to be clear that it fluctuates from day to day. Tomorrow, those teachers may have gotten a position. But as it seems right now, I have the possibility of being able to move 4 teachers. Well, where do I move those 4 teachers? I move the manpower and the resources to schools that need the most resources. Last year, we advocated for additional resources from not only our city council members, but from the DOE to be able to provide to schools like PS 124, and we did. They got an additional resource last year of $60,000 to support some of the transition that was going on. We supported that school with thinking about expanding some of their dual language programs so that they had more resources to be able to provide to students who are coming in the way they're coming in. I had a conversation with the principal today about what vacancies she particularly has in her school. As of right now, she's in good shape. She only has 1 vacancy, which we got clear today, which is probably going to be filled tomorrow, and it was for a 4K class, or a 4K dual language class. Excuse me. Yeah, sure, please. But you got to speak loud because the mic's here. So this is Deirdre Keys, my executive director for District 15.
This year we are working very closely with the director of students in temporary housing, and we are concerned about the fact that when sites is determined, temporary housing sites is determined in a lot of instances in our area in hotels, those students have the right to go to the closest school. Yet they can't make it. But what happens is that also poses some problems in the state that kids and students are all in the same school, which results in us needing to redirect resources because we have a lot of these students that are coming with severe trauma and need a lot of support. So we're working more closely to hopefully redistribute those students a little more equitably between neighboring schools, as long as the families agree with it. The families think it's fine. They have the right to go to the closest school. But we are trying to kind of be a little bit flexible with those rules. And our supervisor of social workers also works very, very hard to get resources to the schools. But it is a lot. When you have a lot of students who need a lot of support, it's a lot of work, and it's very hard on the schools to try and distribute that a little bit more easily. But that has been duly noted, and we are actively working on that.
And Donald, just to give you a rough estimate, we just got this estimate yesterday. It's approximately 338 students. Oh, sorry. Currently it's approximately 338 students that may be potentially considered as asylum seekers based on the numbers that we receive. And that's from January till now. That number will change by the end of today because several schools are registering students, and I'm certainly sure that by the end of September, I think our numbers are going to be more accurate when it comes to that audit date of October 31st, but we'll have a better sense of where things are as things start to slow down when it comes to registration, at least. Not to say that migrants won't continue coming. So we do have a problem on our hands.
I understand that it's a tremendous opportunity for students to continue university inclusion. I think my concern is that the table also says that these students get transportation to any school in the district, and that enables us to fulfill a desegregation plan as agreed upon with New York State. I think that it's really important that we all affirm our commitment to that and to appropriately resourcing the schools. So I would love to hear about your advocacy efforts to get more than $30,000 total to schools that absorb 50 students. And I understand my time is up.
But if I may answer, I agree with you. I think that we need to work collaboratively with the CEC. As you know, CEC is part of figuring out what the zoning is. We would have to change the zoning for the elementary schools in order to be able to do that effort, to be able to move them around to different locations, like what we do with middle schools. Because they are zoned to the schools and they have every right to go to the zoned school. What's happening with these families is they're having difficulty. They're not comfortable, feeling safe putting their kids on buses. They've already been through trauma from buses coming up from Texas to here. They've gone through the walks of many countries, country to country, just to get here. I would imagine that being on a bus is a very uncomfortable environment for them. I don't decide that. I personally can't specifically decide that. That's why there's counselors that meet with them weekly to support them. What I will bring up is that Rachel Weber did bring this up, that there are some communication issues where the person who's providing the support is English speaking and not bilingual. That was brought to my attention today. And today we've already communicated with Charmaine that we have to figure out how translation happens so that parents are communicated in a way that they understand what those rules are as it relates to being able to decide what's the best outcome for them as it relates to being transported to particular different schools, having access to different sites. And that's something that we are working on now as we speak. And I was just found out about that today, that's happening. So you'll hear more about that communication, but I'm excited about hearing some of the CEC's ideas about how do we go about doing that. And as I stated before in the beginning, I'm looking to see where the CEC is going to work with me and figure out what the priorities are so that I can focus my attention on some of those priorities, because if everything becomes a priority, nothing becomes a priority, and I want to focus on where the CEC and I can work collaboratively to make some adjustments to what the CEC feels is fit for this district going forward.
Councilmember Hans Arietta. Councilmember Mamoon Rashid.
Yeah, there are a lot of programs. What is the role of how the CEC you can contribute to those programs to bring it to the community, to make the base, because as you mentioned that children of the principal, school.
Yeah.
But how is it going to the community? Is there any role you can play to the community?
Yeah, let's think about a committee that we can create that's partnership with CEC and my office and some school leaders, and thinking about what are some plans that we can create to move some initiatives forward that the CEC would like to see. At this point, I'm definitely up for that. I'm very flexible with how we can move our district collectively and collaboratively, because I agree with you. We need to do this jointly, right? Some of these things have, and I apologize to this particular CEC, but some of these things had been decided on and thought about in the previous CEC that lend itself over. In the summer, a lot of planning goes on, so on and so forth, so that's what happened. But I would love to think about what are some other things that we can do in partnership to continue to build, right? Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. And I would love to see different parts of the community as well be involved in that decision making. So maybe some CEC members and some parent President's Council members that can collaborate collectively, President's Council, CEC members, and then my office, and working together on something that's a joint effort throughout the year. I would love that. Definitely.
Councilmember Danley Vidal. Myself, Councilmember Jonathan Davis. I just have one quick question. I love the work in project-based learning that's happening across the district. I wasn't able to attend the fair last year, but I heard it was a great success. My question is, what is being done on the school level to make sure that the project-based learning is not just happening in a few classrooms,
Mhm.
but more consistently across the schools. I know there are some schools where it was just a few of the teachers that
Yeah.
had a passion for
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
they engaged in it, but
Yeah.
they were more in isolation. So
I'm glad you brought that up. So this is a 5-year plan for us, right? The first commitment was to ensure that we engage the community in some way. So every school was expected to participate, whether it was one grade, whether it was one class, whether it was a few teachers. That's how we started. This year's expectations that we're setting forth on this Friday when we meet with our principals is that every school should have one full grade that's exposed to actually embedding project-based learning in their curriculum. Next year, it'll continue to expand. And so the idea is that this continues to move forward. Last year, we focused on training the principals and the assistant principals on what project-based learning is. And the reason behind that is they have to supervise it and know what they're looking for and know what they're not looking for. This year, it's all about the teacher training. What we're continuing to do this year as another incentive is to offer CTLE credit to all staff members that are engaged in taking this. Because as you know, New York State requires every teacher to get a certain number of hours for CTLE credit. We're offering it for free, and we're tailoring it to the things that we want to see across our district. So that's another push to get schools more involved. But there are some non-negotiables that we're calling shared commitments with our district principals and APs who are helping advise how we move this work forward. And so you should be seeing it in more classes this year than you saw it this past year. And it's going to continue to build over years. Yeah.
And
That was a year-long series going down to the teacher.
Yes.
and Councilmember Yoon Lee. So that concludes the comment period. Thank you, Superintendent Alvarez.
Great. And now I would like to invite my princess to. Oh, actually, they're up there. And I will just state that in our business meeting that will follow our calendar meeting, we will be discussing school liaison assignments. And so each CEC member has a number of schools that they are responsible for, and Carmine is going to speak a little bit about the responsibilities of the school visits.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Good. Thank you for having me. My name is Carmine Francesi. I'm the Director of Facilities for Brooklyn North. I'm in charge of all the day-to-day operations in every school in District 15 and other districts. I have deputies that are in charge of districts. I have 2 deputies for District 15. They're in charge of a few schools. And then we have our custodians, and then we have our custodial staff that I oversee the day-to-day operations. So you want me to go over like the work I did over the summer? How do you, as I'm walking buildings? Is that?
I think what is important for.
Well, our custodial staff over the summer, we thoroughly clean every classroom. We do some painting, we strip and wax, we wash all the furniture, get it ready for September. Then I have my other teams, I have shops we're doing kitchen cabinets at K24. I'll just run down the list that what I did from July until today. The gymnasium at 27, I sanded and painted the lines. We got a brand new gym floor there. I also installed auditorium stage lighting at 27 in the auditorium. 29, I sanded that floor, painted all new lines. 29, I did 6 classrooms, all VCT new tiles. Also in 29, we did 10 classroom doors. K39, we installed, the parents wanted a water spigot to water their plants. I installed that for them so they didn't have to carry the buckets of water out. That was the request from the principal. 58, we did a room conversion in 58. 88, we installed a sink in room 132. We also doing the gym floor now as we speak. It'll be ready for the start of school. New lines, new logos, and brand new floor. 94, we did some ACs. 107, room 308, the science, there was a science table in there, we removed it. The principal wanted more room for the desk, so we removed the science table that they don't use anymore. That was removed. 124, we installed air conditions in 6 classrooms. 230, we replaced the lunchroom, the whole lunchroom. We got a lunchroom enhancement. The school food did that part. I did the floor, so it's a brand new lunchroom. When you guys visit it, you'll see what a great job that came out. 261, we did a bunch of air conditions. 280, we're doing the auditorium seats. That's Bishop Ford, we call it 280. 293, we did some bathroom upgrades. 293, we did the gym floor, sanding, poly, new logo. 321, we did some wood floors in the pre-K rooms. 51, we did the basement ceiling. We replaced the whole ceiling in the basement. We also did the floor tiles in the basement, first floor, and lunchroom. That's just a highlight that I did. I do repair and maintenance. I could sit here all night and go over everything I do, but that's just the highlight that we just did from July until today. But all the day-to-day operations that we do with boilers and retubing of boilers, cleaning the boilers, and all that day-to-day operations. I walking buildings with my team every day. I hit almost every school in 15, but I'm continuing on Thursday and Friday. I just want to share, I have other districts. I got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 23, and 32, which I'm in charge of. And then I have my deputies. So they're the boots on the ground that visit principals and discuss plans and what we're going to do for facilities. And that's really about it. Any questions?
Could you share the difference between school construction and the
Sure.
school facilities?
So I do repair and maintenance. School construction do capital improvements. They do windows, they do roofs, they do boilers. They open up new schools. We opened up 2 new schools in District 15, actually yesterday, 730. I call it 730 and 710. I think it's Route 896 on 8th Avenue. We just opened up yesterday. That's school construction authority. Now, they give me the building. Now it's my responsibility to maintain it. So that's the difference. All the rezos go through the school construction authority. All capital improvements go through the school construction. And the CEC every year puts their plan in, and you request for capital improvements, but I like to review it because some capital improvements you'll ask for a classroom floor. I could do that. Don't ask for that because that's not capital. I know we worked together with Camille and your team last year and the year before. So that's the difference between the two. They do major projects. I do little projects for the Division of School Facilities. Any questions?
I do.
Yeah, sure.
So I have encountered during my visits to various schools that a lot of principals don't really know who to ask for maintenance issues or where to go when they need something big removed and stuff like that. So what would be the best way? Is there a process, an application?
Yes. So the first process is talk to the custodian engineer. Custodian engineer will flip it to my deputy, and then we'll start the process. But the first point of contact is the custodian engineer of the building. Yeah. And then they'll bump it up to us, and then I'll sign it to either my shops or a contract unit. I have a budget for contracts. Sometimes my skilled trades, it's above their scale, I'll put it to a contractor. I'll hire, we have an approved contractor that works directly for me for Brooklyn North.
And what is the turnaround of projects or budgetary issues that may come up?
Well, it's all depending. I try to do everything, but again, I only have a certain amount of money and I try to prioritize, try to use my shops because the shops get paid daily, don't come out of my budget. So I try to prioritize as much as I can. And if it's a really big, I'll refer it to the school construction authority. I just say it's $70,000. I can't spend that, so I'll ask them for assistance, give me the money and I'll do it on jobs like that. Yes,
I have a question.
sure,
So given the expected uptick in COVID this fall,
yes.
is there a plan in place to ensure the kind of cleaning that would be required?
Well, right now, there's no guidelines yet. I have a citywide meeting tomorrow with Central. Hopefully we'll get some information, but with the COVID, I have abundance of inventory still from last year. So whoever's gonna ask, we'll give it to them. If they don't continue with the guidance, once I deplete it, then it's no more. I'm talking about wipes, I'm talking about stuff like that. But the cleaning we do anyway. That should be cleaning anyway, we should be mopping the rooms out every night anyway, before COVID.
Okay, and disinfecting everything?
Yeah, we wipe
and-
things down, we don't disinfect every desk and all that, usually the teachers do that, but we have the wipes to give them, and they can wipe it down. But right now, there's no guidance on,
No guidance yet.
no guidance yet. Yes,
Something I've kind of run into in my conversations with principals is a lack of clarity on how to deal with repairing air conditioners. I know that everybody got these free not free, but everybody got air conditioners through that air conditioning program
yes.
under the last administration, and then things would go wrong, and then there was like, they just couldn't get them repaired.
Correct, so, before you're talking about de Blasio's initiative, so it was
Yeah,
all schools that didn't have any wiring and didn't have air conditions. Direct replacements, that wasn't part of the program. So if you had a school that had no air conditions, that was the initiative. But we had stimulus money the last 2 years for ACs. We don't have that no more. So now it's going back to the principal to fund air conditions in the building. Because the stimulus, we were using stimulus money. We had $8 million last year, the year before, it's gone.
So I'm
And
gonna
that's
run into
citywide.
that again. I'm
Correct.
gonna run into air conditioning
Correct.
issues when I go.
Right now, there's no funding for it. For us, principals can fund it. Yes. If we get more stimulus, then we will do it, but as of right now, everything's on hold. But I do have, if you have a classroom that's really hot, I have portables that I will do that. If the school really needs it, reach out. I have portables. And they do work. We'll put them on like 5 o'clock in the morning by the time the kids get in, nice and cool.
But they can't be repaired. They have to just be completely replaced. There's no way to fix
It's
them.
not even worth it because it's just the same amount of money to repair it, to replace it. But I have portables. I have them stored in the school in District 14. I have them. You know, I've been, over the summer, they broke, we put portables in there, which helped. Yes. I'll give you my, I have no problem sharing my email. It's cfrancesi@schools.nyc.gov. I'm available 24 hours, 7 days a week. This is my job. C Francesi, FRANZESE @schools.nyc.gov, and I'll give you my cell phone number, 347-386-4450. Yes.
Speak to you
Any other
soon.
questions? Call me. No other questions? That's it? Sure.
There is any plan to improve the air quality for the room for the kids in the schools?
The ventilation?
Yeah, like.
Yeah, well, we have the filters we installed. We also have the air purifiers, and we're not taking them away. Every classroom has 2 air purifiers to change the airflow. The air purifiers in the classrooms, they're still in the classrooms. But if a school has HVAC, we're changing the filters. The custodian monitors them and changes them as needed. Full depending where you are. If you're next to a highway, we gotta change them more often. But we're constantly monitoring that. We have an app that we monitor on our website that we could check, and custodians input if there's any problems, and we respond right away. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
for reminding me.
Thank you.
All right, next
agenda, we have the report from Cabo Hill High School principals Liz Rodriguez and Shamari Akil are not here. I know
You went with.
Principal Cabo Hill High School.
Which Rodriguez?
It was, there was a town hall at Mayor Adams did in Spencer.
We will move on to the vote on the resolution to support the name change MS 447.
Maybe, would you like to come down here and read the resolution aloud from the hot seat? Oh, boy.
Hi.
Yeah.
So the retract. Can the Zoom people hear me? Okay, wait, I don't have the actual resolution.
Oh, I have it in my folder. I have it, it's in my folder. I'll grab it.
I'm the principal at MS 447, currently known as the Math and Science Exploratory School at 345 Main Street. And we put forth a resolution to change our school name in a small way, and I'll read you the resolution. This is the resolution in support of changing the name of MS 447 to reflect the school's values more accurately. The District 15 Community Education Council, CEC 15, held a meeting on Tuesday, that's today, August 29th, 2023. After reviewing all the evidence and facts, CEC 15 passed, I hope, the following, may pass the following resolution. Whereas, for the reasons set forth below, CEC 15 hereby resolves to support the renaming of MS 447 to reflect the school's values more accurately. Whereas the members of the CEC 15 present at this meeting consisted of those who are sitting here at our meeting today. Whereas 15K 447, MS 447, the Math and Science Exploratory School, is a middle school located in Community School District 15. Whereas all proposals for the naming of existing schools were submitted to Principal Aaron Rouge of MS 447. Whereas the principal and PTA membership of MS 447 voted to approve the name recommended by the community, MS 447, the Exploratory School. Whereas the principal, educators, and families of MS 447 have voted to rename their school to better reflect the school's values. Whereas MS 447 is currently named the Math and Science Exploratory School, a name that was intended to represent a curricular focus on math and science. Whereas MS 447's curriculum has evolved and expanded to be multidisciplinary and inquiry-based, focusing on thoughtful exploration across all subjects. The name Math and Science Exploratory School is limiting and misaligned with the school's values and goals. Whereas a public notice of name change has been published, given approval on MS 447's website. Whereas Principal Aaron Rouge of MS 447 has forwarded the proposed name change to District 15 Superintendent Rafael Alvarez. And whereas the Department of Education requires the Community Education Council, CEC, for the local community school district to approve schools' requests to change their name. Therefore, be it resolved, the District 15 Community Education Council, CEC 15, approves the request for MS 447, the Math and Science Exploratory School, to change its name to MS 447, the Exploratory School.
So I ask if anyone would like to motion to
No.
parliamentarian.
Anybody like to comment?
Oh, first it's public.
From the public on the resolution. that
Or
was-
on Zoom.
Or on Zoom. On the resolution, on the name change for MS 447. Start with people who are on Zoom. Not see anybody. Anybody on the translation line?
There's no comment in the Spanish line.
No comment on the Spanish line. Mandarin is here. Bangla line. We don't have a Bangla line today? Okay. Are there any comments from people who are here with us today in person? Yes.
Or is that it?
No, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if she wants to give it more context, you can invite her to.
Please give more
Okay.
context.
Yes, please.
I'll be fast.
You're welcome.
So, this is our final step. We've gone through all the chancellor's regulation measures, and we propose to change the school's name simply to the Exploratory School. While we were founded in 2003 with the name the Math and Science Exploratory School with the intention to be heavily focused on math and science, we have evolved to take on a much more well-rounded approach to schooling and strive to focus on exploration and inquiry overall through our exploration program. And we have found our math and science name to be limiting and at this point misaligned with our school's values and goals. And unless you have questions, I don't really feel that I need to go to all the details of why, but that's the bigger context for us.
Thank you. And now you can go through the rest.
Anybody, any other comments? So I will now go through the CEC members, starting with Councilmember Nancy Randall.
I want to say I'm so excited. I think this is wonderful and congratulations. Wow. Wow.
Councilmember Antonia Ferrero.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this resolution to us. And do you feel like it limited your students who were interested in applying to the school?
So we found two enrollment things that came up. One is it seemed to limit kids who love ELA and social studies and would get worried about applying to our school. And the other very interesting thing is that for years, it has caused us to have more boys than girls applying and enrolling, which is sad and wrong, but nonetheless was a pattern that we year over year have had trouble breaking.
Councilmember Vanessa Gonzalez.
Both my kids went to 447. But I am super excited about this because I do see where the schools come from, where there are so many issues equals expectation in applying to the school and how much more potential there is that is not seen by the name, and how the school operates and how it integrates the curriculum with different sciences, social sciences, international math, with all these areas. So it's basically really great experience for students. So I am really shocked.
Councilmember Nancy Cruz.
Hi. So as a mom of 3 kids who I remember the whole process, which they're all past which, but all of them like going through the process of 447, and yes, it was clear in the community that it was the boys who were looking at 447 all the time, and the girls were going, oh no, I don't want to go there. And that's the general, but I just remember a lot of that a long time ago. So I think this is great. I think it will help parents understand the school better when they are making their choices. So I thank you for going through what sounds like a lot of work to change the name. And that's all I have to say about that.
Councilmember Donalda Chutney. Councilmember Hans Arietta.
Thank you very much for your hearing.
Councilmember Mamoon Rashid. Councilmember Danny Vidal. Councilmember Jonathan Davis. I just want to say I worked at Urban Assembly School of Design and Construction. We encountered the exact same challenges, and when I saw this, I was just so elated for you and your school and being able to make a change that would make it a lot more inclusive.
Also, kids are dependent when they apply.
It's like a career choice.
Councilmember Yuan Lee.
我觉得换个名字，给人的感觉压力比较小，好轻松。
Okay, great. Thank you. Now we'll pass it over to Nancy Cruz for the vote.
Okay, so do I ask for a motion?
Yes,
or do
you have
I?
to ask for a
Okay,
motion.
so does anyone motion to accept this resolution?
I will
Approve the
move, I will
resolution.
move to approve this resolution on a name change for MS 447.
Do we have a second? Okay, we have a double second. So I have to write these down, right?
Yes.
So, sorry, just, so I don't think I did it before.
Or you can just copy
Antonia.
and paste. Oh, yeah, right,
Uh,
okay, yeah,
this-
yeah, sorry, yes.
Okay, Antonia motions, and then, I'll just
Whoever,
keep it simple.
whoever.
The seconds, and then I got it, don't worry, I gotta learn how to walk and chew gum. Okay, so now I'll go down the line, down the roll. Councilmember Nancy Randall. Councilmember Antonia Ferraro.
Yes.
Councilmember Vanessa Gonzalez. Ueoka, sorry. Councilmember Nancy Cruz, yes. Councilmember Donalda Chumney. Councilmember Councilmember Leslie King has an excused absence, so she's going to be voting. Councilmember Hans Arietta. Councilmember Lauren Barkin has an excused absence and will not be voting. Councilmember Mamoon Rashid. Councilmember Danley Vidal. Councilmember Jonathan Davis. And Councilmember Yoon Lee. Yes. Okay, so let the record show that it was unanimous of all members present. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you.
What happens next? You have to get a new sign and?
We have to get a lot of new things.
Yeah.
Okay, now I pass it over again to Jonathan for general public comment.
Is there anybody who's on Zoom with us who has a general public comment? Anybody in the Spanish translation?
No questions from the Spanish line.
Anybody in person?
You should be able to write directly into the document if you change the setting up there.
Not look like we have any additional public comments.
All right, thank you so much.
I'm not writing in it directly.
Francis Brown.
I thought I was writing
Can
here.
we make it so everyone can hear?
Hi, my name is Francis. I am here from Senator Ewan-Chu's office. I just wanted to pass along the senator's best wishes as we move back into the school year, and let you all know if you ever have any issues that as well. you can reach out through our email, which is ewinchu@nysenate, or come to our office. And have a great.
Francis, thank you so much for joining us today. And we really appreciate it, and we will be reaching out to your office. Thank you. Okay, it is 8:36 p.m. and is there a motion to adjourn our calendar meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? I see Vanessa seconds. 8:36 p.m. We are adjourning our calendar meeting. Thank you everyone for joining us. I am sorry I'm not giving us a break. We are immediately starting our business meeting as we must leave this building by 9 p.m. So.
Okay, so we're calling to order.
No.
Is there any way to lower the AC or just temporarily shut it off? Just for maybe a little bit? You have to climb, then don't climb. I'm good. Nope, no, because then it'll get too hot and that's worse. It's fine. Oh.
Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to the CEC 15 August 29th, 2023 business meeting. I am Nancy Randall, President, and I will call this meeting to order at 8:37 p.m. We are coming to you from the District 15 office at 131 Livingston Street. I would ask that everyone here please sign the attendance sheet at the back of the room. There are, how many people on the call? 14 people on the call. And we will now call the roll. Nancy Cruz.
Okay, now calling the roll, Councilmember Nancy Randall.
Present.
Councilmember Antonia Ferraro.
Present.
Councilmember Vanessa Gonzalez Uelka. She is present. Councilmember Nancy Cruz, I am present. Councilmember Donalda Chumney. Councilmember Leslie King has an excused absence today. Councilmember Hans Arietta. Councilmember Lauren Barkin has an excused absence today. Councilmember Mamoon Rashid. Councilmember Danley Vidal. Councilmember Jonathan Davis. Councilmember Yoon Lee. So, record show, all are present, less 2, which is this quorum.
Great, thank you.
Make a motion to amend the agenda. We have to have a executive session to talk about the how do I say this, matters of personnel. And it's probably better to hold that executive session later at the end, because we have to, when you hold an executive session, the public can't be part of that meeting. And we ask them to leave the room, and then they come, we invite them back into the room when the executive session is over. And so if we do that executive session at the top of this agenda, we risk losing our audience. So I propose that we move the treasurer's report to after the school liaison assignment.
Is that a motion?
That is the motion.
I second. Okay. We must vote.
We must vote?
Yes, we must vote.
Okay. So, Councilmember Nancy Randall.
Approve.
Councilmember Antonia Ferraro.
Yes.
Councilmember Vanessa Gonzalez Uelka.
Yes.
Councilmember Nancy Cruz, I approve. Councilmember Donalda Chumley. Councilmember Leslie King is absent. Councilmember Hans Arietta.
Yes.
Councilmember Lauren Barkin is absent. Councilmember Mamoon Rashid.
Yes.
Councilmember Danley Vidal. Councilmember Jonathan Davis, and Councilmember Yoon Lee.
Yes.
Okay, let the record show that all were present, approved.
Okay, great. Now we get to the exciting part. I'm very excited about the school liaison list. I did not fill it out on purpose because I figured I would fill it out based after I wanted everybody else to be able to make some decisions for what they wanted. Has anybody else not put their name on this list? Mamoon, you haven't? Okay, great. Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there are still 15 schools. And each of us, is it each of us needs to take 5 schools? Is there anybody else's name that's missing on here?
So the co-located schools.
Oh, Vanessa, you
are
also.
repeats. Are you counting them?
The co-located schools.
These are repeated here.
Aha.
So don't count these.
Don't count those.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that I want to say is everybody should have
At least 4.
at least 4.
I'm confused. When you say it's repeated, so if I put my name down for 447 and HS 656, that means it's also on the other line item, which was 447.
Right.
Okay, so I'll put my name in there.
Got it. Okay, great. Okay. Stanley, I wanted to ask you, you don't have any D75 schools listed, and you are the D75 rep. So I would love it if you, I think it's important if you were to take 1 or more of those schools. Okay. Do you want to like trade out something, or how many schools have you? Oh, okay, so then go ahead and take one of the D75 schools as well, and then that'll be 4. Everyone should have 4 schools. Can you write into the document? Okay.
Let me see.
Oh, wait, hold on. Because.
So.
Oh, Vanessa, you put yourself in 447, but I was already there. I just put it in the wrong column.
Oh, I see.
Unless you were already there and I put it in the wrong column,
Okay,
which is
so.
possible.
Refresh.
Antonia is gonna write in the master.
And I'm sharing it on the screen.
But if you don't have the screen, we need to make sure that everything is filtered through Antonia right now.
So you put that one and the one next to it. Because it has the high school.
Okay, so. Let's do the following.
I have to add another school.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Let's go around the table and see which schools each person has, and add any schools to whomever doesn't have schools. So we'll start to my left with Nancy Cruz. So Nancy, you've got PS 39.
Yep.
MS 51.
Yep.
IS 136.
Yep. And I just took myself off of the 447656 because I just learned that it's the same as being on 447, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
you are
so
not-
I just removed myself because Vanessa's for 447, so she should be in those too. Her name is there.
656?
It's the
Well,
same
there's
building,
two-
so you
It's the
take
same building.
both.
So it's better if you are representing the entire building.
You represent
Both
the
of those
building.
schools, because
That's still not saying, that's not addressing what I'm saying.
Oh,
Okay, so there are two boxes, right?
Yeah.
One of them is MS447.
Yeah.
And then the other one says MS447 plus HS636. I had my name in MS447 plus 636. But Vanessa has her name in MS447.
Yeah.
Okay, well, which one of you is taking it?
So let Vanessa take it, and I'll just take another school,
Okay.
which is fine.
Leslie
no,
King
it's-
actually has her name at HS656. So we must remove her name from that.
My name was in the combined one, which was 447-656. Oh my God. So there's a lot of repeat. So Vanessa goes in there.
So Vanessa, you're taking both of those schools.
So Vanessa, you're taking 447 and 656.
Okay, so wait,
So wait,
so
Nancy still
Nancy,
needs one
you've got 39,
more.
51, 136, and then, so do you have something, do you have a D75 program?
Yeah.
Can you, take a
Where
decent-
is these?
on the
well,
back?
Second page. Scroll down.
Can you tell me where these are located? Because I don't, I'm sorry, I didn't do the work on these. 371 is.
Oh, where they're located?
Yeah, because I'm a little bit, I'm living out of the district. I want to make sure I keep.
Okay, not without looking it up right now.
Okay, let me look them up and I'll add one. Just come back.
Okay, all right,
There's
Yoon,
only 3 left.
we're gonna move on to Yoon. Yoon, you have 94, 131, 169, 516 plus the annex.
Was that 4?
That's 4. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
all right, so you're good?
Yoon Lee is good.
Good. All right, Hans, you have 124, 295, 3 D75, 373. Hans, can you take one more? So that you have 4?
You want school close to my house?
Where are you?
I live about close to Steen Street.
Oh.
Yes, Steen for Avenue.
I thought PS10 was available. Oh, Vanessa's on it.
Okay. No, I'm not.
Oh,
There's
okay.
8, well, no, wait.
We switched.
You're so naughty.
Okay, so PS10 is open now?
Yeah.
Okay, PS10 is in Park Slope.
So I take down PS10.
Okay, so we'll put Hans,
Okay, great. Okay.
Hans, Aria.
Okay. Okay, so
And you can find parking.
Stanley, you have 146, 230, 321. I'm sorry, could you say that again?
I can drop 230 and take another 57.
Okay.
Is, do you have a preference of? No. And you,
I took mine.
you took which one?
Do you not see me?
Yeah, okay, you took 371, right?
Which that's it.
Okay, so
Mhm.
that's interesting, because 371 is at 2 locations. So, okay, I'm gonna give her 75K, 75K 721.
Okay. Is that, but then that leaves you with 3 schools, so you should keep 230 to have 4 schools. Okay.
Okay.
So am I gonna have to go to 2 locations? Makes it 5
Those-
schools.
They are different locations, same school.
Same
Wow.
school, different locations?
Same school, different locations. It would probably be better if you dropped one of your, you don't want.
No, I like those schools that I chose. I'm
Because then
interested in the Sunset
That
Park School.
person
and-
is, that principal is gonna have to have 2 separate meetings with a CEC member at different locations. I guess it doesn't matter.
Can't you
because
just meet with the principal and they tell you what's going on, or do you actually have to go
You
into
have
the
to
building?
get a tour,
They give you a tour. All right,
of the
fine, I'll do it.
building.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. No, it's a D75 school that is into spaces, and I think they're right across the street from each other.
It's fine, I'll figure it out.
Okay, so then why don't you can't have 5 now, so you have to give away 1.
I don't want to.
Oh my God, okay.
Can I take a different D75 that doesn't have 2 buildings? So maybe the D75
We
rep
have
can
9
take-
minutes. We have 9 minutes.
Okay.
and then
Okay.
maybe the
So-
D75 rep can take that one.
Let's leave it.
Okay, let's leave
Let's
it.
leave it.
Let's leave it.
We're leaving it. Mamoon, I'm coming back to you. Donalda, you have 88
I removed myself from 39.
plus 50 plus 75, 53.
There's an inclusion program in 88. so
Okay,
that's
yeah,
why.
got it. Okay, you have 172. You have 443.
And 676.
Where is 676?
It's in red.
No, I mean, where on the list? Oh, there it is. Okay, got it. Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, so you have 4. Okay, Jonathan, what do you have?
I'm down to 3 because of the switches we made.
Okay, so which are they right now?
I now have.
You have 130.
No, so
No.
that's what Vanessa wanted to switch
Okay.
with me to take 130, and that also meant she was going to take MS 839.
Okay.
They're co-located in the building.
Okay, so what do you have?
So I added 154. I also have IS 497, and they're co-located with District 75, School 368. So I was going to take those 3, and then I will add a 4th.
Okay, which 4th?
39.
Somebody has 39, no?
No.
I just,
Nancy has 39.
I just gave it up.
Gave it up.
Oh,
You told me
Nancy
I
just
had to
gave
give
it up. Got
I
it.
gave it up.
Okay, all right, great. So is that 4, Jonathan? Okay, great. Vanessa, what do you have? No, let's come back to you. Antonio, what do you have? You have 118. Okay.
At 958, pre-K 76,
So do you need one more?
and I have the D75 K 403. So I have 4.
Okay. Vanessa, you've put your name down on 4?
There's a lot.
On 5.
Well, because
More.
they're co-located. 3 are co-located in one building and 2 are co-located.
Got it. So you've got 2 buildings. Okay.
But
Okay.
5 schools.
Got it. That's not.
All right.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
And Mamoon, what have you put down?
Yeah, I put MS 821
Is that possible?
because it's empty here.
Oh, okay, you haven't put it, okay, then. And what else?
And then one D75.
Which one?
The other side I saw D75.
The D75 school.
I don't see any more D75s available, actually.
How about the PS1?
PS1, yes, okay. And 2 more.
Okay, so PS1, PS10.
No, Hans has 10.
What's available now?
29, 32, 896.
Okay, whatever. If you give me 29 and 32 is fine.
Okay.
I don't care
Is that, I mean, is that a distance from you? Is it like, is
I
it
don't-
more?
I don't really care.
You don't care about the
No,
distance?
I drive,
Okay.
so I'm going to
Okay, so are there 4 left?
So what's left is 896 and annex.
Okay.
Pre-K 93, pre-K 108.
Yeah.
That's it.
What about IS 136 MS 821. Is that left? In the
One
colo?
36.
136 and 821.
Memo took 821 and Nancy Cruz has 136.
Yeah, but it's the same building,
It's
so
the
one
same
person should take
building,
it.
so one
Where is that? It's in the D75?
No.
No.
And then 295 and 443 is the same building, so only one person should take that.
So I have another one that's a shared building? Is that what you
So
said?
Donaldo has 443, and who has 295? And Hans has 295.
Yeah, we've sort of broken up.
And then one.
Maybe we should.
So wait, Mamoon, did you just take 821?
Yeah.
Okay, so you take 821 and 136, and then give me one of yours right now.
So I'm on 136, so I'm off 136 again now?
You took 821, right? Okay.
29,
So take 821 and 136 because it's one building. It's one building.
Okay.
And so then give me one of yours. Give me either 29 or 32, please.
Either one.
Huh? I'll take 29. Okay, great. And then, so you remove 136.
We did.
Okay, great. Okay, so.
And then you're taking the pre-Ks?
Yeah, and then 295 and 443 is the same building, so either Donalda or or Hans should take that one. And then 295.
Hans has a D75, so I think Hans has 4. But we could switch that D75 to somebody and then Hans can take the combined building.
Where? Do I have 4 now? I have 4, right?
Am I giving you the 896 annex?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that means.
So I've got 4.
That means you have 4.
Okay.
2 pre-Ks and 29 and the 896. Yeah, so now we're just dealing with the fact that 2 buildings with co-located schools are split amongst.
Well, wait, and there's also 442, that co-located building.
Right,
Who's
that's what
got?
I'm saying, there's 2 buildings that are split up amongst 4 members. And do we want to combine them and give them to just one member? I mean, it's okay if we don't, because it's, in the past, we've had 2 people on one building. It's not ideal.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal.
Leslie's got 442. Where's 863? On this list.
It's a pre-K.
So then is that, okay, that's separate, okay. So let's give Leslie that.
Okay.
Let's give Leslie the co-located building. And then Hans and Donalda, who wants 443, 295?
I'm glad to do it. If you want to do it, we can have it and also I'll take it.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll invite you.
I go around.
Okay, great. That's excellent. That's even better.
So does anybody not have 4 schools?
I don't now because I've been removed from the 3 that
You've
I
only-
chose.
so how many
and
schools do you
I only
have?
have 1 that I chose originally, and now I have the co-located 75.
Oh, you've only got one building?
Yes, I've got knocked out of 3.
Wait, let's give, so
I don't know where these schools are. These are not schools that I had even looked at, so like, I'm gonna have to like have a look. I chose 4 schools and now only one of them I'm still in.
We can always take this offline and,
audit this thing outside of this meeting.
I think it was
Okay.
presented
So now
confusingly.
you
It
have
needs to be all.
you have
I
too
can
many,
resort
so
this
we're
if you
gonna
guys
give
want.
Nancy something of yours.
Give Nancy 295 for 40.
Yeah, that's actually
Now I
that's
have
close to you.
5. Now I have 5.
No, it's about the buildings. Think about it more about the buildings. So the
So
important
that's
thing
4. So it's one building.
it's
so
about the buildings. So the important thing, what you need to be
Where's
doing in
295?
the upcoming weeks is, and I'll send an email about this, and I already did, but I'll send another email about this, is getting in touch with these principals so that you can tour these buildings for our school construction authority report that we need to do by December, January. And what we're going to do, Carmine was here to discuss with us the types of things that he looks at, right, to fix his school. So what he's looking at are like sinks, floors, bathrooms, ACs, auditoriums, gyms, basement ceilings, floor tiles. So he's fixing these things, right? But before that happens, the school construction authority is able to input huge amounts of money to fix things that really need to, a complete overhaul of the auditorium or a complete bathroom renovation or something like that that needs to happen. So one of the things that we do is we recommend, based off of our conversations with the principals, with the parent leaders, we recommend what should be, what the school needs. So it's really important for us to think about it more in terms of the buildings. Like that's the parity that we want to have, that each of us has the same number of buildings that we're going to, because we're going to be not necessarily communicating with the schools separately when we're looking at the actual buildings. Does that make any sense? The issue with the schools, of course, is that each is going to have its own school leadership team. And so then that's a separate part of, if somebody has 5 schools and somebody has 2 schools, that's obviously not ideal, because then there's no parity there. So we're over time. It's 9:03. We'll take this offline, but we got a little bit closer to getting a plan for this, and certainly by our next business meeting, we will definitely have to have a plan so that people can start getting in touch with the principals and so forth. I motion for us to push the next agenda item to the next meeting.
There's no other agenda item.
Yeah, we've postponed the treasurer report.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, we can have that at a business. Yeah, they should. Our resolution also.
All right. We don't have time for old business or new business.
Well, you could just ask.
But we have to leave, don't we? Okay.
I thought we had the permit till 9:30.
We have to be out of here by 9 o'clock because the safety agent must close the building by 9:30. So, okay, we thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn our business meeting? Is there a second? All right. Thank you so much. And at 9:04 p.m. we are adjourning our meeting. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Good night.
What time? 9:04, 275, 371, Lillian Ratchkus. The second is not another school building, it's a program embedded at telecommunications high school. Which one? Lillian Ratchkus, D75, 371. I think it's 371, yeah.
But like, why?
So the main one is William Ratchkus on 37th Street and 4th Avenue. And the other it's not another building, it's a very tiny high.
Good night, everybody.
Embedded at High School of Telecommunication Arts. That's I don't know, that's why I bring it up.